I wanted to stick with mostly standalones for this list, and I mostly did that, but I did include some sequels, including this first book, Children of Memory by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is coming out this month, I believe, in the UK, and scheduled for January of 2023 here in the US. This is the third book in what I suppose is just generically being referred to as the Children of Time series. The first two books of the series, Children of Time and Children of Ruin, are excellent novels. I'm hopeful to see this win some awards, and even more hopeful to get my hands on it and read it. In Children of Time, humans have abandoned a dying Earth. Interesting about where they end up are the effects of Dr. Avrana Kern's invented uplift virus on a habitable planet. By the time the crew of the Ark ship Gilgamesh find their way to the planet, they have to deal with Kern, artificial intelligence, and an evolved non-human species defending their territory. Book 2 continued this story, and again, Uplift was front and center. My understanding of the third book is that Children of Memory diverges a bit from the formula, as well as presents a riveting mystery. I can't wait. The Terraformers by Annalee Newitz, scheduled for January of 2023. I previously had a great experience reading Annalee Newitz's 2019 novel, The Future of Another Timeline. I mentioned that one during my time travel week on my channel on my time travel recommendations episode. I gave that book 3.75 stars. The setup for Terraformers sounds interesting. The novel is set far future and not surprisingly centers on a world being terraformed. I'm curious to see some expected themes of corporations exploiting the process and the impact that that has on the human characters in the story. Heavenly Tyrant by Zhiran Zhao is another sequel. This is the sequel to Iron Widow. This is expected in August of 2023. Iron Widow for me was a guilty pleasure read. It was a fulfilled revenge fantasy novel lacking any depth or deeper meaning, and I enjoyed it a lot. I think that I'll read this second installment for the same reason. I've discovered that young adult science fiction just isn't a fit for me, so I don't plan on reading more YA, except for this one. In Iron Widow, Zetienne faces down the powers that be and a misogynistic system to avenge the death of her sister, and again, the ruthless and misogynistic culture and political system. In the sequel, it appears safe to assume that there will be more asses for her to kick and more powerful forces trying to control, manipulate, or exploit her. Maru by S.B. Divya is coming out in February of 2023. I haven't read any previous work from this author, but I am aware of a lot of buzz for this new release. What catches my eyes and ears the most is that this is space opera set in the future, already a good start, and that there are evolved or genetically enhanced or created superhumans, or more likely advanced post-superhumans. I'll have to see what that's all about. I'm very excited for Translation State by Ann Leckie, coming out in June of 2023. I spent a lot of time with Ann Leckie's characters in her Imperial Reich trilogy, and I enjoyed every minute of it. For such a recent series, it's easy to see the clear impact and influence that her novel Ancillary Justice has had on a lot of other modern science fiction, especially when it comes to the trope of sentient spaceships. I'm definitely eager to see what new characters that she has in store for us this time around. I don't have much information on this novel, but it will take place in the same universe as the Imperial Reich, and that's all I need to know that this will be on my TBR. I really like when an author writes a standalone in an already established universe. It's a universe that they know so well, and not being tied to the series really makes me expect something that's going to be astonishing and fresh. The Descendant Machine by Gareth Powell is coming out in April of 2023. This is timely and appropriate for the list for a number of reasons. I put Gareth Powell's novels Embers of War and Stars and Bones on the list of works that show signs of Ann Leckie's Ancillary Justice, sentient spaceship influence. Additionally, elements of the blurbs for this new release give me Adrian Tchaikovsky Shards of Earth vibes, especially the part about a powerful alien being with spiritual or religious followers. This can all add up to a really good space opera. In the Descendant Machine, there is a giant alien mechanism that has been dormant for ages, and forces are conspiring to activate it. That might not be a good idea because rumor has it, it could destroy life in the galaxy. I'll be ordering this one as soon as it comes out. Of course, I'm going to include Lightbringer, the 6th book in the Res Rising saga by Pierce Brown, scheduled for release in July of 2023. The long wait is over for the next installment of the Red Rising saga. This will be book 6, with a 7th book, Red Gold, in the works, and I believe being released also next year. Red Rising is one of my favorite science fiction series of all time, and I'm looking forward to the return of Darrow. I don't spoil series sequels, so let me just take you back to book 1, Red Rising. Protagonist Darrow is a Red, the lowest of the color-coded classes of the future Mars society. Teenage Darrow, like the rest of the Reds, works hard in the mines and is pretty much forgotten by everybody else. Darrow doesn't accept this destiny, and he's not going to sit around and accept the lies that are meant to keep he and the other Reds in place and doing the shit work of the planet. But instead, he infiltrates the higher society. His goal is to become a gold, and from there, advance a revolution. There is so much more to this and the other 4 books of this series, and I'll point you to my top 210 episode and cameos from Leanne's library and Eric at Break Even Books for even more thoughts on Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star, Iron Gold, and Dark Ages. So much for keeping sequels off of this list. Lords of Uncreation is book 3 of the Final Architects series by Adrian Tchaikovsky, due out in May of 2023. I am so looking forward to this one. This is the last sequel novel on my list today, and it is another from Adrian Tchaikovsky. I was blown away by the first 2 books of the Final Architects series. You'll find reviews of both Shards of Earth and Eyes of the Void on my channel. I also made some REM-inspired parody music for Eyes of the Void, so if you're into that, check that one out. In Shards of Earth, the series opens introducing some interesting characters, mainly the crew of the salvage ship, the Vulture God. Among the crew are humans and aliens, each with their own unique traits and backstories. Most significant among them in the story is Idris, a navigator, who is crucial to piloting the ship faster than light, as well as facing down, so to speak, the moon-sized aggressors, the Architects. The Architects are destroyers of worlds. The books are action-packed. Book 1 focuses on trying to uncover why the Architects are attacking. Book 2 does much of the same, but with more action and a pivot to trying to find out where the Architects are coming from and who or what is pulling their strings. I have a strong feeling that Book 3, Lords of Uncreation, is going to wrap up the series with some exciting answers. I highly recommend this series. I'm also looking forward to Naomi Alderman's The Future, scheduled for fall of 2023. This is Alderman's first book since The Power in 2016. There's not a lot of information available about this new release, but The Power was such an interesting read that I'm curious to see what Alderman's going to deliver. The Power introduced an interesting concept, women getting the power to create electricity, and all the things around how they wield that power. It was a great dystopian read, even if I didn't fully buy in with the ending. I'd like to see what she delivers with The Future, in which, I quote, "She imagines a handful of rogues, including an unhappy spouse and a deposed executive, overthrowing the masters of Silicon Valley and running the tech world themselves." And my number 1 most anticipated read for 2023 is Ian McDonald's Hopeland, scheduled for February 2023. My most anticipated 2023 release is Hopeland. This will be my first Ian McDonald read since his 2009 release, the excellent The Dervish House. I missed all 3 books of his more recent Luna series. You can see parts of my interview with Ian McDonald on my top 210 science fiction books video and hear him talk about River of Gods and The Dervish House. There's not a lot of information out yet about what to expect with Hopeland. It's billed as science fiction and speculative fiction, and it hosts as an initial setting riots in 20th century London. This is being billed as an epic tech thriller. One of the characters, it sounds like, wields lightning, which maybe throws me off a bit. There's mention of time travel and a story spanning decades. Both of those, plus one of my favorite authors, McDonald, make this a 3 for 3 on my can't wait to dive in-o-meter. Thank you for watching. I'm Michael Leverts, and this is Fit to be Read.